let's look at some vintage micro machines. The first ones I want to look at are my favorite ones. Anything semi-truck related to micro machines I was definitely in love with as a kid. These ones were made in 1989. And that was, we'll say that was, kind of the peak of micro machines. Not the peak, but that was definitely their highest point. Micro Machines was made by Galoob, and they first appeared on shelves in 1987 during the holiday season, Christmas season. Like most toys drop around that time of the year, especially if they know they're going to be big hits. Sorry about the noise. But yeah, what better time to drop a product than before Christmas when everybody wants it. Like I said, these are definitely my favorite. During the 1987 to 1990, micro machines were the top selling model car toys around the market. They beat out Hot Wheels and Matchbox put together. They were known like really being cool because they had actual automotive brand deals. Like they weren't just kind of made up cars, like they were cars you could actually see on the road, and maybe your parents had one of the cars you had a model of, I don't know. But yeah, that was a pretty big appeal to them. They weren't just like some toy. They they were actually out there in the real world. They even had a video game in the 1990s, 1991 actually. And Galoob did not create micro machines. Micro machines were created by a small-time store owner, toy store owner, sorry, in Wisconsin. Him and his wife actually. Clemens and Patty Jo Hendon was their name. They had a toy shop, like I said, in Wisconsin in 1980, and they started working on these things. They were obviously into what Hot Wheels was doing, and they kind of figured that they could make a splash in the market themselves. So they worked from 1980 till 1985, producing these little cars and the packaging and everything else. They went to a toy show in New York, the New York City Toy Fair in 1985, and they ran into the company Galoob. I believe that Galoob was the first person that they went to, the first booth that they approached, and Galoob instantly made them an offer. They didn't even really let them, or not let them, but they didn't even really give them a chance to go even see anybody else, like maybe Hasbro or Matchbox or Mattel. So they took them right away. Let's open up this one next. So this is the City Service Collection. Once again, I believe this is 1989, 88. Okay, 88. And we're going to get a fire truck, a wrecker, a dump truck, ambulance, and a police car, which is all very cool. Now, one of the things that helped undoubtedly these things grow to the popularity, and sorry for the noise again, was their advertising. They actually had this guy, his name was John Moschetta Jr., and he actually held the Guinness World Record for being the fastest talker at the time. I'm not too sure if he is now, but he definitely was. And he appeared in many commercials. They made over 100 commercials. I'm not sure if he was in every single one, but he definitely got your attention. I always remember seeing him as a kid And the commercials would come on, and I was probably maybe 6 or 7, I'd say, and the Micro Machine commercial would come on, and I remember those things used to jump out at me because as a kid I thought he was like trying to tell like a secret message that you had to decode almost. You know, he'd be in there fast talking, and as like I said, when you're kind of like that young, you're not really picking up on what he's saying, so you would hear the commercial come on, and I would anyway, like really try and make sure that I seen it or heard it so I could decode what he was trying to tell you. But as I got older, I just realized that he was just, that was his gimmick, that was his gag. He was just a fast talking guy. And I think he made a living off of just doing that. He was in many other commercials. He did one for FedEx. That's actually, I think that's might be what he's most known for if it's not for the Micro Machines. It was a pretty good commercial. You should check it out. It's pretty funny. His name is John Machida Jr. Or just look up the Micro Machines guy, Micro Machines commercial guy, and I'm sure you'll find the commercial I'm talking about, which is pretty good. The FedEx commercial, or UPS, I can't remember which one it was. And then he also did a pretty good commercial gimmick with Minute Rice back in the day, before he got with Micro Machines. Like, he was doing commercials before Micro Machines. And like I said, that was his gimmick. So he did a Minute Rice commercial, and it was pretty funny. Like, pretty much just saying like how fast it can be done and stuff like that. And it was just really comedic because he was a fast talker. So he was like talking to maybe his wife that was in the video. And yeah, it's just a good commercial. This guy seems to be stuck on here. And yeah, he was also in other commercials too. I believe he was in like car sales commercials, maybe just for like smaller. Well, back then I don't know if they were advertising as much as they are now, but you know, like small town car salesmen would hire him in and do a commercial for them. And those commercials were obviously really good too. You know, kind of just playing on the role and comedic pun of being a car salesman and speed talking and great deals and yada yada yada. He was in an airlines commercials. I'm not too sure how many, but for JetBlue. Same thing again, just kind of like the comedic spieling off a bunch of deals and how good it was to fly and when you're in a rush and yada yada yada, which perfectly suited him. Like I said, that was his gig, right? So he was also in a few TV shows. He was in Saved by the Bell. I believe he was a substitute teacher at one point. I can't really remember the episode, to be honest with you. And he was in Sesame Street. He actually made quite a few appearances in Sesame Street. Kind of played different characters, but I think it was always just kind of around the alphabet thing, letter of the day maybe, and numbers and stuff like that. That's a cool car. I like that one. Now by the 1990s, they were huge, man. They were everywhere. Like, pretty sure like everybody you might know who was like a child at that time, anywhere from like 5 to maybe 7 or 8 years old, definitely had Micro Machines. A lot of them were hand downs. That's how I definitely got started. And they were everywhere. They were even in the 1990 movie Home Alone, which was huge at the time. In any movie at any time, to really get your product in a movie is not easy. So it just really just goes to show you, if you know about that kind of thing, like just how present they were in the culture at that time to be in that movie of that big. And you know, that movie's still like world renowned till this day every Christmas. So they're still kind of, you know, being shown off every year, really, and bringing back a lot of nostalgia for people when they see them. By 1990, they had over 300 different models and, you know, different various types of vehicles, and they kind of started running out of obviously, like, you know, cars to put out. So what they would really do is they would just kind of re-release old models and just give them a new paint scheme, like a new color. And then they kind of started releasing like almost like gimmicky type of Micro Machines like this. Like, you can see they're they're the old Micro Machines, but they're just got a different paint job, and now they have like, I guess like these things that you put over them. They're the shells. These ones are called Highway Warriors, Terra Tank and Ram and Rig. So that's kind of the direction they started going. Like naturally, like you know, 300 in their first 3 years was a lot. They were still cool. They were still collectible, you know, but they were definitely more like a toy now at that point, instead of like kind of being seen as like a collectible kind of thing, like an old car that you might want or something. Now they're kind of coming out with, you know, like I said, like almost like gimmicky kind of stuff, which is fine. Whatever, it's fine. But you know, if they didn't make so many so fast, they could have maybe gone a bit longer before they kind of almost faded out, like in the mid 90s. But I don't think that was. I don't think they were really gonna. No matter what they did, whether they released a lot or not, I don't think they were really ever gonna get away from what was coming to them. Like obviously they started producing a lot, like I said, making different colors, so they got into not only gimmicks but like TV shows kind of stuff. Like they had Power Ranger lines, you know, you could get the different Power Ranger vehicles, and they made the movie ones like Aliens. I know they had Star Trek, they had Spider-Man ones, they had X-Men ones, but the biggest one that I think everybody would agree with that they got their hands on for licensing was for Star Wars in 1995. Star Wars was making a huge comeback. They're, you know, releasing those new movies, the prequels to the old ones, and so they got their licensing for that. And I'm not saying it didn't take off; it took off really well, but they kind of just were solely focused on that line of Star Wars from 1995. We'll say 1996 till 1998 when they were actually bought out by Hasbro. Pretty sure that Hasbro just wanted them because of the Star Wars name, and they can run off of that. So when they sold them to Hasbro, Hasbro ran with them till I think it was 2000. And then after 2000, they just kind of dropped. They were gone, Micro Machines, pretty much. Like they weren't really a thing anymore. I don't even know if they made them, to be honest with you. But I know they're definitely, the hype died down after 2000. And like I said, it was mostly because of Star Wars, and really just because, like I said, like how many times can you remake the same, you know, Corvette, or, you know, with a different paint job or something like that, right? And you know, so like I said, it's kind of hard to tell. Like maybe if they didn't make so many so fast, they could have kept making, you know, been bringing them out for longer, and they would have had a longer run than just the 3 years of being on top of the toy car market, kind of. But then again, like I said, at the same time, I think no matter what happened, when you get that license for Star Wars, I mean, you're gonna put anything on the back burner. Let's be honest, right? So, you know, maybe it was a good thing that they came in so hot and heavy and made 300 models within their first 3 years, because, you know, that definitely secured them for the #1 spot. Like they just had so many things, and it was so unique. Not saying that like Hot Wheels or anything wasn't around, but these were just different, right? These, you know, it was a new toy, and yeah, they took the market, and I truly believe it was because they were pumping out so many. And maybe if they didn't pump out so many, they wouldn't have had a chance to hold on to that top spot for as long as they did. And then, like I said, even like this one here is just, you know, it's like this right here. It's like this was the first one, right? Or maybe even this was second generation itself. But then they just repackaged it. You know, different paint jobs. And they gave you this cool little thing to put on top of it. Right? That camera's not zooming. There it is. So you just put this over top of it. It's got little rubber things in there that kind of squeezes on the car and holds it. So yeah, so I think, like I said, I think they definitely did the right thing by pumping the market so hard, because like I truly believe that once they got that, like any company, you know, once you get that Star Wars deal, that's really what you're focusing on. And I think they definitely made their mark, and they sold it, like I said, 1998, which was the right decision. I think they kind of seen the writing on the wall. Like, you know, there's not really much groundbreaking stuff you can do here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm probably forgetting a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about, but anyway, thank you for watching the video, and there definitely will be more Micro Machine videos, so check them out if you have a minute, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.